And that's the direction Ambrosia have sort of opted to go this time around, Wyatt. But I want to say that the last time I saw Viper on this map was like Loud doing some ridiculous stuff in like early 2024 with the Phoenix comp as well. Like, it is kind of crazy to see Double Controller make its comeback on Ascent.
Yeah, you'll see it very, very occasionally. And it can be nice when you're able to take some free space because of the wall. You're able to shut down some of the common sight lines because, of course, the op is so good on this map. And listen, for the Ambrosia comp to get rolling to its fullest extent, you want that op in the hands of your Yoru. You want to control lanes with that and force the attacking team to have to go into the Sentinel setups. So maybe that could come to fruition, help YFP out later. But for now, it's the pistol round and it's a B-side split, getting in through market with the majority of their players.
Pretty nice moves here from YFP. They've already got themselves well and truly into market. So Ambrosia have to play off these traps. Paranoia not affecting Shondex, so he's in position to deal with Jake. I think YFP maybe just banking a little bit too much on that flash, and Shondex has just walked away with the bag, bro. 3 kills in that side. Ambrosia anchoring like gods.
That was clean as hell from Shondex. All of those taps. That stun that came out from the deadlock trip connected onto 3 players, I think. That had everybody stunned getting onto the side. Yeah, I want to see this again just to... Yeah, it's all 3 players on lane got hit by the stun. That's crazy, man.
And nobody got hit by the Paranoia, I think, for Ambrosia on the defense side. So a little bit shaky there for YFP. This Viper wall, though, is interesting. You often see it, or at least when we did see it on this map, it will kind of force defenders into retakes on occasion. Just have them sort of play over towards grass, over towards tree entirely. Fully commit to that A side. Can't really do either.
This is
by half measure.
This is a YFP pulling a G2. They didn't get the spike down. They did they even kill anyone at all? But they're going for the force with no cash against the double sentinel comp. If they lose this round, you could see a future where Ambrosia just torch them for the rest of this half and run away with the game. This is dangerous. They all have half armor. They're going to be running into this outlaw. They want to use the Viper wall to obscure this sightline, get into the site for free. Satellite wants to play in front of it, but has to teleport away.
They're going to be tucked here. The rest of YFP ambling now into this A side. Sonic sensors are there all over A. YFP have got to be wary of it. They really got wrecked by them last time.
Oh,
Grabnet
no.
comes in. They're all lit. This could be devastating. Well, he doesn't fully commit onto it. Ambrosia, though, have done more than enough. Player advantage secured. This Stinger by starting to falter. And no spike plant yet. Stick spotted over towards Jen, and Satellite's easily going to be able to pick him off. Talk about a gamble being made by Stella. And they had all their chips in on him. Glyph is going to bring him down.
That got dangerous for a second because it did not know, or rather did not look like Shondex knew where to look for that last player. Trying to get back in with the outlaw, but Ambrosia win it out, and YFP, time to go back to the well, get the stingers again, because they're going to have the loss bonus, all that, but this is a rough start. Hey, at least they did a lot of damage. If that was cleaner for Ambrosia, then things are looking dangerous for real. But they've kept a lid on the economy, so okay, they're not going to be off to too ridiculous of an advantage.
Even so, not the result that we're looking for with a force up like that. Grab that timings have been just too good for Akri, and he's got a spidey sense about it. Now can fall back behind the barrier. And YFP are not great weapons for breaking through this. But if they don't want to wait 40 seconds, then they're going to have to do something about it or head elsewhere. That seems to be like it might be the plan.
Unfortunately, they have no control of elsewhere. They're going to be walking back towards... Oh my god, Glyph was watching top mid. He just backed up, but now he's going to posture back up onto that angle, taking contact with Satellite tucked, watching tiles.
Okay, there's Satellite playing from mid. That's exactly what you wanted to see, White. Him controlling those lanes with a scoped weapon. They had to fall off the angle for free.
Wait, did he just teleport like 3 inches away from where he was at? Like, wait.
It looks like a chamber TP.
Yeah, I'm like... I feel like my eyes are deceiving me because it's so strange, but that is the truth. That is the reality. I mean, what? He got a bunch of kills. Who cares? But it just confused me. It just confused me. I'm like, wait, what the hell?
Sometimes, like, you think the gate crash goes further than you end up throwing. Like, you don't turn back to look at. You get sort of busy fighting. Yeah, no, you're right. It was a very short little TP. Hey, break that crosshair placement. I'm fine with it.
Anyhow, YFP will be happy that that Outlaw is not being carried over into this round because 4 other players have light armors, not the ideal buys for the attacking side. On a must-win round, this one would be worth 2. We put YFP on a really bad half buy.
Another Speedway Sonic sensor here, which was crippling for YFP on the pistol.
That was a full connection shock dart onto Penny. That did the max damage. She's down to 50.
Now just clone. Obviously, this was previously a great way to deal with the Vice Wall. Now likely really just for information. Satellite obviously unperturbed by it. Might look to tuck here in this corner. A re-clear of B main will show that YFP have just vacated it. So that's a gate crash. I like this from Satellite. Good response. Gate crash out towards the A side. Ambrosia trying to make sure they've got everyone they need here. Well, he was lit by that dart. And YFP now considering re-hitting this B side. What do they know about the setup for the defenders at A though?
Left.
Not a whole lot. They just want to try to show some presence. But because that cam isn't going to pick anyone up, trying to get into tree, that trip isn't being broken. Ambrosia feel confident to start rotating over. There's 18 seconds left. The spike is still in B main. They still need to cross to market. Satellite spots them both out. Acreon in a lot of danger backside.
Oh, he got them both. Oh, buddy, that is crazy stuff. Deep though able to find success. Somehow the Sonic sensor on Speedway is gone. Was it destroyed by spam? I doubt it. Either way, wasn't a factor in that fight. Shondex now having to come back through CT a little bit late. YFP pretty pleased, I think, to get something on the board with 3 rifles maintained this early on this attack side. Definitely makes up for the big gamble in round 2, Wyatt, where they just weren't able to turn it into a round win.
Unless Shondex makes something of a miracle happen, but that's not going to be the case. B-Dog just biding his time in B main. YFP with a good last-second pivot and execute to B. Ambrosia, it looked like they were going to beat them to the timing. I mean, hell, Acreon did get backside, and he did get 2 with the grab net, but just did not actually have an opportunity to collect either of those players. Then there was a perfect flash backside that put Welly in a really tough spot. I mean, he was even lucky to get 1 with the Guardian there, frankly, after this happened.
Yeah, it really fell apart. I think this hold on the map, and Satellite had the right timing. It was ADS'd in. It just misses the 2 YFP players cross mid. So the intuition still was pretty on point for Ambrosia. Damn, I bet Dryad wishes she predicted Ambrosia to win today. Shame she voted YFP like the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, we were trying to tell her that that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Ash, Sierra, everyone. A weird choice, but all good. Glyph Paranoia comes through. Penny's trying to play from Switch at the moment. Satellite taking a lot of damage back sight.
Still alive there, Welly. Big investment this round into Odin, and he is stopped in his tracks. Another great grab net. Acreon has got to have at least 100%. At least 100% connection rate on that grenade. Shondex though has been able to move up now, but that Aldron's going to force him off, and it's awkward with that Sheriff. He narrowly avoids being ruined. Speeddog was waiting in the wings for him to cross.
At this point, does Acreon just want to even save in this situation? Door is still up. Shondex going to have to waste some time breaking that. Wants to maybe find one, get away with the rifle. Not even going to happen. Jake is gonna, yeah, he's going to hunt for more. He wants to remove that last rifle from Acreon. Ambrosia were so low on money. This is huge for YFP. They really could have been in a horrific situation had that round 2 force not actually gotten a lot of kills on Ambrosia. It was possible that they'd never be seeing an anti-eco round.
I mean, I guess it was important in that it's really softened up the bonus for Ambrosia, right? Just getting all their... Oh, God, they got 4 rifles out of them in that second round. So at least they were able to get that much done. Now, these last couple of rounds, these hits over towards the B side have worked really well, but you know, YFP are really playing it patiently. Now, this is not a Gravnet that Acreon can play into, unfortunately for him. He at least knows that. Having to be pinged out here by this drone. I'm not sure if the drone saw the deadlock, or rather the omen here at the site, but they can probably guess now with that dark cover very quickly blooming in place.
With all this noise being made, Ambrosia feel like it's time to go for a bit of a gamble. Stack up 4 of their players over towards that A side of the map. They just have Shondex watching B, where they, I mean, the intentions of YFP are to actually go. That's where they have the spike. That's where they have that Viper wall that they can try and make some safe passage into sight with. You know, they can take a little bit of B main without having to hard clear, using a util close.
It's just nothing for Shondex to play off here. No traps. Yeah, you've got the cam, of course. He knows that they're headed this way.
Trying to beat them there, but a little too late.
And there's the double cyber cage here over the CT, so it really just isolates Shondex on the B site. Jake's going to play close here, followed up by a smoke. So basically, yeah, Ambrosia realized they've got to surge, but they've got to get onto the site somehow. Satellite upgrades over towards us. Rather, Phantom is able to find one, but Penny plays close. It's not a time when they can anticipate adequately. And it looks like Willie was affected by something there, maybe nearsighted, unclear. YFP, 3 attack sides in a row. It cannot be overstated how important it is for them to get online so early on in the half.
That was well done from Penny. Savior at the final moment there. Don't know how Satellite was able to jump out. I mean, I guess he just close range, got one with the Bucky, insta picks up the rifle, wins a duel in the site. That was pretty crazy. But still, the rest of the Ambrosia players just bad weapons, no armor, spam down. Penny gets himself into a nice little position tucked on stairs, and Ambrosia feel that they must take a timeout here. They're going to have to fully invest. They have a lot of ultimates to play with.
I said these Viper walls have been moving across the map, you know, pretty regularly, right? Towards A and B, respectively. See, these early rounds look so good for Ambrosia. They push up, mid was solid for them. It's this round, though, is the inflection point. For whatever reason, that deadlock util's cleared out on Speedway. They're able to make their way in and really just cover this side out. And look at all the util. I mean, this double... the double Senti comp, obviously, like, it invests heavily in the, you know, putting all of that Senti util on the one side between the Cypher and the deadlock. And then tries to have the bodies at the other, but it's not played out the way they'd like it to.
Nice. Let's go, Eric. Let's go.
No, not so far. All right, Ambrosia are going to invest into the operator here. Like I said right at the beginning of this game, that is one of the critical elements that makes this comp so potent when you're on defense. Using that op to control one part of the map on your own and then forcing the team on attack into the Sentinel utility because they don't want to have to deal with re-clearing you. Right now, that op's posture towards B main.
See that Viper wall just shuts down the Omen one way, denying that from Acreon. Well, he's been pretty bloody good with these Hunter's Furies so far, and there it is. There's the op. Satellite finding connection. Forced off the line here by this Owl drone, but that's fine. He got his, and a large concentration of YFP players towards this A side of the map. But just now, mid is starting to be explored a little further. E-Dog also heads over towards the B side of the map, but he still needs to clear B main. There's a cam in there, but it's going to be stalled util thrown in that direction to try and prevent Ambrosia from having to actually rotate across the map with everyone.
A Glyph just counter from the shadows gets over to B. It looked like YFP may have wanted to try to accelerate, but they realized that the rotations had just come too quickly. Time to work back towards A, where Stellar has maintained some level of control of main. Acreon, really weak backside. Welly trying to support.
Right here.
30 seconds left.
Thrown out there by the Yoro just in case YFP had pushed up to grass. They have, but not on the time that it would have otherwise expected. He still checks, though. Diligent play from Satellite. His second in the round. And Jake tucked around the corner with the shorty.
I know exactly.
Satellite's able to convert. That is 3 kills for him. YFP's going to pop that neural theft, but the spike was knocked to hand, and now they're going to be very short on time. No Viper to operate this wall, so nothing really to work with now as Dimensional Drift is going to be used just to confirm the veracity of these movements now from the attackers. Beast knows Shondex is lurking close by. Glyph is low, but doesn't need to swing alone. Ambrosia have this from 3 different angles now. And they just need to wait out some of these smokes. Satellite sees it all, but Stellaris is too sharp. How he finds success in those situations is beyond me. Now the numbers have been evened up. They're going to have to drop into hell, and it's going to be messy, whichever way you slice it, folks. Glyph knows it. So throws the prescribed smoke at that location to start the defuse now. He's in a safe spot for this. Shocky doesn't quite kill him, and it's going to be an opportunity there for Glyph at 7 to swing out, find the kill, and get the defuse. A much-needed round for Ambrosia.
The two of them play that so well at the end there. Little bait and switch swing from Glyph is perfect, and luckily for him, he also didn't die to that shock dart. Went on such low HP. That almost certainly would have been the round over if that would have actually claimed his life, but it doesn't. Credit to Satellite for getting that 3-piece earlier on. Just able to teleport around the map, post up in a couple different positions with the operator. And this is the frustrations of playing against it when it is in the hands of the Yoru.
Away we go again. This time the double face over towards the A main positions. Ambrosia very quickly realized that they cannot play off that one-way smoke because the Viper wall is headed B side. Satellite wants to control this lane. Poison Orb's going to force him off the line. He just doesn't want to waste his time. So this might, in effect, allow Jake to lurk up mid on timing.
So that deadlock setup from Akron over towards A is really posted up to just deny anyone that's trying to get into tree after Satellite takes contact, but that'll all be irrelevant as YFP just have full intentions of playing off this Viper wall to get into the B side. Recon is going to be broken, not before picking up Shondex, who feels he needs to retreat back site, double up with Welly. YFP still taking their time at the moment, not rushing things.
They haven't really shown themselves here towards Boathouse, containing YFP pretty effectively. And now they might start and tighten the net a little more. Shondex, great little off angle here, but Penny on the moves able to take him down. That was through smoke, Stella. Annihilation at the ready. Is this one that would make Ada proud? We're going to find out. Stella with the plant, unaffected by the Annihilation. Apparently desperate spray for Penny does not pay off. And that's time for B-Dog. In a 1v2 at least in the post plant, but no util left. It is time, buddy, to pay the piper. And Ambrosia have an op in this retake, which is a bit odd. For that reason, exactly. B-Dog handles him. And Akron here now has to kind of go for it. Nothing of his own util-wise to make use of. This is going to be raw sauce, no catch-up, folks. B-Dog's got this off angle, but likely shown his gun barrel at some point. Akron checking the corners. He knows he's going to be here. It's on pure reaction time. And Akron again comes out on top.
He's not getting the dink even through the wall, but not enough damage because of it. That is brutal. Well played from Akron. Catches out Jake lurking out mid earlier on to find that initial advantage. Really well played. Crucial round for Ambrosia, going to retain that op as well. Keep that in the hands of Satellite. Keep applying that pressure to YFP with it on the various extremities of the map.
I just like from Ambrosia, they just don't get ahead of themselves. They play really patient on that A side, by a lot of time for the rest of Ambrosia to head over towards mid, get in there through CT. Got them pretty well surrounded. YFP a little too face up with their movements in that last round, and finally Ambrosia can start to build this economy. YFP, conversely, well, it's getting a little bit shaky. They do get those crucial 3 attack side rounds, but they've got such a good staging ground that they've got to be asking for more. Cybercage from the attack side denies the defensive one way. And here comes the Hunter's Fury now. Looks like Willie got clipped by that one. He's looking a little bit haggard here.
Yeah, but Shondex is just back sight, taking 1v1's Penny. Finally shuts him down, but not before YFP lose 2 players, and Satellite picks up that spawn angle. Seller was caught in no man's land, still trying to rotate into the site.
Looks like the pressure's off the defenders in a big way here. Satellite has got a ton to work with. The gate crash, yeah, okay, clone. Noted by Penny. Okay, smoke clear, Satellite taken down. This gets a bit more interesting now. Feet gets a 1 versus 1 on Speedway, and the Paranoia is a little bit too late. Gate crash for Penny could have been dangerous. He appeared out in the open, but Ambrosia are not ready to capitalize. Welly going down now. Wayward spray. Penny low, 48 to work with, and Glyph will deal with him. These are hard-fought rounds, and Ambrosia can never really get ahead money-wise, but YFP are going to be cobbling together what they can in the next round to break the piggy bank, to try and get a bit more than 3.
A lot of credit has to go the way of Shondex there. He's feeling an immense amount of pressure from the hit coming in. Welly could do nothing to support from Market, smoked off, and having to avoid the Hunter's Fury that was headed his way. So that is just the lone Cypher on site, needing to play around box. You know, isolating 1v1s, it seemed like he was able to do, at least, you know, via looking at the minimap. And then from there, you know, Penny gets the trade, but it's too little too late. YFP have already dropped 2 players. You know, they're hoping to just rush into that site. All right, we go 1 for 1. Cool. We get the plant down. Jake has that Viper's Pit to cover everything up. But it just never came to fruition because the anchoring was too solid.
Shondex has been an issue. Playing inside this round and the previous one just through Boathouse. Got to be a timeout here for YFP. And they're faced with the perennial conundrum of any attack side team on this Ascent map. It's like, right, now we're pretty money starved. It's going to happen. How do we make this double controller comp work for us? How do we get this sick map control? Because you probably want a little bit more out of your Viper than a mid smoke and a way to counter out a one-way on this A main position.
Our Satellite going to post up with the AWP this time. Tons of options. YFP, they're half buying into this. They have a couple Guardians, a couple Stingers to play with. Still that Viper's Pit in the hands of Jake. So listen, if they get into a situation where the spike goes down and they can play the Stingers inside of the pit, that is definitely one way they could potentially win out this round.
Here.
And he wants to drift across. Okay, crash to the back of the side here. Looks like they might want to be pretty quick about this one. Shondex might be aware of that. Okay, well, Penny out of nowhere tries to fight him. Shondex easily comes out on top. And Glyph gets active. Might have TP'd across the way. YFP right into the pure stopping power of Ambrosia with that op on A Heaven. And D says, well, this is a bit of a compromising situation I found myself in. My team can't buy next round. I don't have a Guardian, so it's not particularly convincing. I'm also Cypher, so there's that. Don't really have a way to scoop up this spike. So I think I'm going to spend the next minute checking my cuticles.
that was a little unlucky that Penny teleported in and instantly died. Was trying to be the space creator, but it just didn't really go that way.
That? Yeah, I guess no one is able to pressure Shondex because he's tucked in hell.
Yeah, and
Shondex
they were just getting cooked in the choke trying to entry back in, and well, it didn't take a full minute. A little bit shorter than that. Ambrosia just run thief down. Satellite is on fire. Was definitely the star back on map 1 when Ambrosia took over in the second half and has just carried that really excellent play right on into Ascent.
I mean, unlike Ambrosia, YFP aren't like being forced to play like a really raw contact style. They have like double controller. Historically, pretty good at sort of denying those op lines. Of course, they got the Al drone as well. But they just get hit with a bunch of stall utils. They try and make their way through A main. The fact that like, you know, Acreon can throw a grab net and fall off that, just buy a bit of time there. Both teams have good stall potential on their defense sides. YFP even more so potentially with the extra smoker, but sometimes that op on defense side is just too good to deny.
So YFP, they try to use that poison cloud that Seller's throwing down bottom mid to just obscure the view so they can theoretically be rotating anywhere they want back and forth through mid. Dimensional Drift is going to run through tree. Satellite, dangerous, has to back off for a moment. Penny's gone out in hell again.
This time he can see what's in hell before he appears there, which is pretty big difference maker. Sent the clone out. Shondex, man, has been very hard to shift no matter where across the map he's been. I feel like our analysts, they really highlighted Shondex coming into this game. Really heads up pick, I think, for a early call of player of the match. He's been so damn good.
Deservedly so. Coming into this game, Shondex was the 3rd highest rated player in the playoffs for average damage per round and the highest non-duelist player. The 2 ahead of him are, you know, Boney and Kane Zera, 2 of the duelists that are just going absolutely crazy.
30 seconds left.
It's really a testament to how good he's been for Ambrosia during this run. YFP's entire plan there with the dimensional drift to try and get a split going into A just goes completely awry. All the timings are amiss. The defensive utility is throwing players off, not allowing them to get in when their teammates need that help. This comp is such a nightmare to play against once it gets rolling.
B-Dog's done a very good job, at least, turning up for work today in that round. Gets around the map, active enough. You notice that the Willie's been able to have that Odin in hand for the last couple of rounds now as we head into the last of the first half. A 3 attack side round for YFP would be acceptable. Nothing to get excited about. And they'd probably be pretty nervous, I think, about playing against this double senti comp that makes these retakes borderline impossible once they can get into the sites. We might see a lot of early action, even though YFP, in theory, are playing a double controller comp that wants to sort of choke them out and put them against the clock. Let's see what YFP now can do in this last of the half. They've got Guardian here. Jake's got no armor at all. Oh, the Shockies hit him pretty darn hard.
And a drone coming over the top, spots out everyone. Shondex again in a position to anchor Welly, just spamming through with the Odin as well.
I mean, yeah, no armor to speak of. Spam is just, oh, too easy, Welly! Kills 3 people without seeing a glimpse of them this round. Well, that's an open and shut case for you folks. Time of death, round 12 for YFP.
They'll be thanking their lucky stars that they got 3 on the board early on after losing the pistol. Excuse me, forcing up, losing the force round, but doing enough damage in the first 3 rounds that 1 gun round win broke Ambrosia's economy, so they somehow got an anti-eco in a 3-9 half. I mean, this was absolute dominance from Ambrosia. That stretch of 6 rounds in a row, it felt like none of them were even close. YFP's best laid plans were just completely torn to shreds. You know, all of their A hits, players were just unable to be synced up because that defensive utility is so oppressive at denying players getting into space, getting through chokes when you're dealing with grab nets. Now it's about closing things out on this attack side.
I like the defense side Viper Ball here. It's quite elegant. It covers 3 lanes quite adequately.
Why destroyed?
Ambrosia, though, of course, they have a very strong post plant set up with their composition. We talked about it so much last year. Turtle Troop being the biggest offenders on this map with the deadlock. They, a barrier wall over, barrier mesh rather, over towards, CT side on the B side, or to block off tree, make it virtually impossible, especially on pistol rounds, to get back in. The Acrian has invested in that util here, so it's definitely part of the game plan for Ambrosia now on the attack side.
Why destroyed?
They've broken that chirp up mid. Recon is going to hit tree. Backside, here comes the split. B-Dog, though, fast. Pacey through mid, is able to catch one in the back before they could even get into market.
Yeah, you look at YFP, they're so active on the map in the market now. And Ambrosia are feeling the pinch. They're not on a clock. Gravnet in the hand, by the looks of things for Acrian. Can he get this deployed adequately? Penny a little low, but still, YFP in general, brimming with confidence in such a round. Michonne next will be surrounded, dragged off his horse, and a very important pistol round seeded over to YFP to get him started on this defense side.
I love the pace that they played with, just getting out of A right into mid when that B split was actually just trying to go through market. They caught Glyph in the back before he was even able to get in there. And then while the rest of the players are trying to get out of choke, they've already fought right into market, completely surrounding Ambrosia. At least so far this game, in terms of the scoreline, it's the opposite but the same as Haven. One team down 9-3, the other wins the pistol. On the last map, it was Ambrosia winning in the second half and then going on a massive comeback.
One enemy remaining.
I appreciate this from our players.
All
Really
right.
just wanted to get this one out of the way nice and easy. Jake says, oh, it's an ace for free. Okay, well, I'll take it.
Good for
A
the
very quick
stats.
9 to 5.
Good for VLR. Good for getting the ult.
I mean,
We'll take it.
yeah, Jake honestly only was able to get 4 kills out of that first half. So
Goes there.
he's the one you want to pad the stats for. Ah, yes. Bit of a bulldog ace for you. And they basically walk straight into those sight lines. Jake takes only a little bit of damage in the end.
That looked like something out of the tutorial. Like shooting the little robots when they're right
I think
into
like
sight.
someone hovered the Radianite skin upgrades of the bulldog and just has someone doing that.
All right, Penny is
Now we're going to
pushed.
play the real game in theory. Acrian had armor. Thanking his lucky stars for that. Speaking of, it's Stella. Spotted out in mid, is able to duck away off that angle by taking a minimum amount of damage.
Penny wants to refight. Post back up on this tiles angle. Wants to be proactive, wants to find this opening. He's already done a good job getting the damage, and I love that extra step taken to the left just to throw off Acrian's view, then scope in, find the kill, teleport away. That's beautifully played.
Felt like there was some risk associated there, but that's the way that Penny wants to play out these early rounds. Really wants to assert himself. Now is his defense side Yoru. Getting a scope weapon in hand early is going to be crucial. It's a big momentum builder. Ambrosia, they've been here before. They know what it's like on Ascent. They're on that first attack side gun round. They lose the first pick.
30 seconds left.
It's also the agent that's supposed to make their post plants that much more potent. But being a very flashlight setup and a very contacty style composition, they need to find a way to get past his op play. And in this case, it's just go to a different side. Stella's going to be bundled back in a boathouse. Satellite trying to chase him down after being hit with the paranoia. No one thinks to really check that corner. Satellite goes for it, hedges his bets, and is punished for it. Shonix at least able to trade out, but Stella, can he buy some time? Glip looking the wrong way. Not ideal. Stella should fall here now, being pinched out, but it's, again, all the time he bought for Jake and the rest of the cavalry to arrive, who's more than doubled his kills in the last 2 rounds. YFP get their 6th on the board.
Lovely retake again. This pace that YFP are playing at is really excellent to watch right now. The way that they're all getting in onto that site together at the exact same time. Just running it down lane and stairs. And then, of course, it starts with Penny just finding this really excellent early kill.
Cutting through.
So away we go. Stinger and Sheriff by here for Ambrosia. And we're going to start thinking about these ultimates a little more. Akron getting pretty close to annihilation.
Shadows traveling.
Standard play around A main here, YFP.
May even be able to get
Vastly
that
better
this
weapons.
round. That annihilation, if Akron can get an orb, find a kill, maybe if things get scrappy, could pay off in a post plant. Just still a ways away, though.
Be a garden variety fast ace split here, Wyatt. So they grav netted down. Might have caught B-Dog. Not gonna matter though. Stella is there. Sprays him down. Penny embedded there over towards Wayne. Swings out and well, he's dealt with. It's a spike loose there from the Sova player. So Shondex will very little else to look at in such a round. Door shut in his face. Spike virtually in a different postcode. No one will be FedExing that one overnight. And we'll see if there's anybody who's just not particularly being diligent enough in this round. But Jake sees him on the swing. Should be a double swing to end Kim. Try and deny this Stinger a kill, and so they do. YFP with 4 rifles walk out of the round with heads held high.
We've got into a situation now where YFP are playing rounds in clean enough fashion that they're not losing too many players. Only 1 there. The state of their economy is out of control, and that's going to mean that Ambrosia are going to need to deal with Penny buying ops for multiple rounds, even if YFP are losing them. Now feeling the pressure, they're going to take a timeout. That's a 4-round run for the YFP team, and it really feels like we're just getting a nice little repeat of what happened on Haven, but in the opposite way. Where YFP this time are able to win that second half pistol, start stringing together rounds, get their economy rolling, and the team in the lead is the one getting ecoed.
We're going to head over split should we need it. Our 3rd map in this series. One that was already touched on by our desk at the start of the game. Should be a proper spicy one. We're not going to ride off, of course, Ambrosia yet, but they've been pretty unsuccessful on this attack side so far. Partially owing to this from Penny, rather. Just really, proactive through mid. Bordering on aggression, getting scoped weapon in his hands very early on in the half and trying his best to abuse it to put his team back in pole position. Still a 2-round deficit in this game, though, for them. Ambrosia now coming out of this timeout, though. Let's see what kind of plan they're going to be able to enact.
If we head over to split as well, you got to feel like Ambrosia want to close this out here. That's the map where Penny put up 391 ACS the other day, 200 something average damage per round. You don't really want to have to deal with that. Penny is looking pretty solid at the moment, especially when he's had either the op or the outlaw. Wants to get aggro here, press down mid, pick up the angle on tile. Satellite could be in danger.
There's no trade potential there, really. Shondex would have to overswing into a potential.
He didn't even have to. Oh, it's just expired. I was like, wait a second, what? That was dangerous, man. Bro had to take out the gate crash, but he is able to get away. Hunter's Fury going to go out in B main and just catch Satellite. Stellar has had some great Hunter's Furies in this series. It's just been mid-round, send them out, find a pick.
And Ambrosia are trying to play around those gate crash timings to some degree, right? Wait for them to expire. Try and see a second one drawn out And they've done their homework, right? They played that early round passively, and then randomly, up above nothing, Hunter's Fury comes in and claims one of their, crucially, the duelist with Dimensional Drift. It's about as good as it gets for YFP in terms of what they can collect off that Sova ult. And now Ambrosia probably are looking at plan B. BURG's got a good timing, but Willie's actually able to get out of that encounter mostly unscathed. And Acreon deals with Stella. Now it's getting uncomfortable. Mirror theft pop. Ambrosia, they know they're revealed. They know their positions have been noted inside that smoke, but they're going to go for it anyway. And what a place to get a wall here. Now this retake is going to be such a pain.
Oh.
Nah, that's too risky. BURG has to try and save him, but that is dirty stuff. Ambrosia lose that player early. Satellite dies to the Hunter's Fury, but the plan they cobbled together in that timeout why it pays off.
Acreon has some very smooth aim. Able to, unfortunately, I might have been him or a different player. No, I believe it was him. Caught Stellar in that heaven smoke the moment that he was sending out the recon. And then from there, the players on the site are just exposed to multiple different angles. You know, funny enough, this is another round where Stellar gets a mid-round first kill with the Hunter's Fury, and then YFP lose. The same thing happened on the second half of Haven. Ambrosia are able to, you know, claw back rounds that they have no right winning.
Ambrosia now have an attack side Yoru op in hand. And then taking it over towards this B side of the map. Penny, the counterpart here to Satellite, the same weaponry. Doesn't want to be forced off that line by the drone, but has no choice. That is just straight up fundamentals there from Ambrosia. Clear the angle with the R drone, post up with your own op player, win the fight. Not good for YFP.
You know Penny is not expecting that there's going to be an op posted up on attack on the angle he just got forced off of.
Here. Really uncommon to see that. And if you do see it, it's more like trying to challenge mid.
What?
Okay, well, I don't know how Glip loses that one out. Or rather, how BURG's able to win it. Numbers get even up. Welly goes down. This is starting to fall apart a little bit now. Stella does see a player tucked log. Shondex hasn't always been revealed. And so he simply walks away.
Now slowly, Ambrosia
30 seconds left.
walking up lane. Jake is unaware. Noise being made.
Barrier mesh still a factor.
And
Still
too
trying to
scared
clear
to
it.
plant. Too scared to plant just yet. 17 seconds.
Sonic simply cleared.
Yeah, trying to break the trip. Spam goes through, but not enough to kill Acreon.
Both the sensors are gone. There is a Cypher trap wire here on the side. Could be relevant. Shonix can keep his head down. Acreon is definitely the one that's expected to take contact here. Boathouse smoked. Doesn't really matter if you've got a trap wire to play with, but you can't cover Acreon's crossfire unless you move. So Acreon plays safe. Only be able to be able to be seen from one angle. The timing! Still a down! Tries to whip himself over towards Speedway. Oh, that's not good for YFP at all. That round might have been their Challengers playoffs run right there.
Try the same old tricks.
Absolute disaster, man. 3 versus 2 walking in. They just cannot trade for each other. Too slow on the swing from lane. And the two guys that contact walked into sight. They were shot down with no help. That's crazy from Thief. But look at this. It's just too late from Jake. It's just too late on the swing. He needed to come up with that clutch. Can't do it. YFP are fully forced into this round with a stinger on Jake. Still has that Viper's Pit to play with.
And their stage 2 run really hinging on this round here. YFP barely make it into playoffs. It's a scrape through the Swiss stage. The quality of teams and challenges really has been ratcheted up this phase. Ambrosia are a great example of this, getting into playoffs with a 4-1 record. Looking like YFP might be their next victim. And this is after YFP handled TSM yesterday.
We have a very, very different looking top 4 than we did from stage 1. Both Burger Boys and Ambrosia in there. I mean, and YFP.
Crazy
This is a
top 4.
very
It's just
different look.
ridiculous. Ambrosia, who were in promo relegation and not in the good way after stage 1. Not in the way you want to be there. Still, that Viper's Pit over towards B is enough to force this move up mid.
30 seconds left.
He just wants to stall this out. I like this from Ambrosia. They really try and get forward, play off the paranoia. Counter one comes in from B-Dog. And Ambrosia going to give the game up here over on the mid side of the map. But that's a huge pick. His attack side up.
Oh my God,
he throws out the clone to
him.
block the shot. That's dirty. Trying to flash, gate crash out. He's able to get away. Glyph, meanwhile, finds B-Dog. Satellite is just everywhere. He's impossible to track, and he wins down against Penny. That is ridiculous. Penny is like, what is going on? What is this newfangled approach to the hero? And it's up to Jake in a 1 versus 3 to keep YFP's hopes alive. This guy's been around the block. It's definitely not his first rodeo, but eventually those thighs get a little chapped, if you know what I'm saying.
One enemy remains.
Nicely done. Wins out 2. Still with 30 health to work with. Shondex, though, knows. He knows where he is, and he drops him with a shorty. YFP hanging on by a thread.
That was an unbelievable sequence of plays from Satellite. What the hell, man? What the hell? The teleport away to Jen, dodges the flash that he knows was going to come out of that cloud from Penny, and then gets the op headshot kill. Was so patient in A main, finally gets that opening pick, just waiting for someone to peek into him, and it finally happens. And then off that, Ambrosia make their move, but their move would have failed had Satellite not gotten an unbelievable play.
I can't believe he had the presence of mind to
events was crazy, man.
Throw the clone, block the shot, knows he's going to get pushed by the enemy Yoru, so he gate crashes past him, TPs to site, isn't punished from the player at tree, turns around and shoots Penny when he walks back. I've never seen a moment like that. And it's not just Sipch in the night. It feels like that was intentional from Satellite. And that's tough to bounce back from. You are YFP. You are one of the most storied teams in Tier 2. You have such a great run up until this point. You feel like this tournament's yours to lose, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they've played a couple of their best games, if not their best games of this year in their last 2 wins. The clean 2-0 over TSM, clean 2-0 over Qbert Academy to get into this against Ambrosia, who have just made a few roster moves heading into stage 2 after, not getting relegated, and are on pace to make it into the lower bracket final with just 1 more round win, 5 chances to do so. They still have this op in the hand of Satellite. YFP have the judge over on Thief to try and lock down B main close. They've got a bait and switch setup where Penny's going to take contact, teleport away, and then hopefully the attackers run into the judge. But ultimately, it might be irrelevant if Ambrosia don't decide to really go hard into B main. We'll have to see. And they are just gathered up towards A, trying to get early control of main. And then they depart.
They've got ways of getting an early read on this, surely. Countering up mid, they cross. Satellite revealed, pinged out. Not quite punished for it though. Stella realizes he can't really take that shot.
Camera taken out.
Penny lying in wait. Gate crash is active. So we think that he's won and get out. And he's done so. Beautifully done. Now fall back to a more rear position as Akrian slits. They try to make the way in through B. This is a little bit ugly for Ambrosia so far, but Satellite on the attack side up still has crept awful far forward in mid.
You're trying to hold the cross when the side exec comes in and someone rotates over from A. There's 30 seconds left. YFP have already got 3 players here. Now Satellite's working his way through market. Clone coming upstairs. Trip is activated. Wall is down. This is mental. I mean, he's stuck. There's 15 seconds. There's still 2 players backside.
Oh, it's bizarre. Okay, Penny's about to get busy here. Akrian, because he banked this one off the wall. No, Penny unaffected by it. There it goes.
Damn.
Great spray transfer from Penny, who finds it first kill in B main, falling back to CT, and never letting Ambrosia get into the round.
Their setup actually did end up being used exactly as intended, with Ambrosia starting A early, wanting to get some control of A main, force YFP to re-clear, or just give it up, and then pivot back into that B split, but just does not end up working out. Penny finds that, teleports away, then the hit comes in, and there's Thief with the judge up close. And Penny just hits a sick little snappy shot to end that round. The YP's first round in what feels like ages.
main control there is there for Ambrosia. Cam in mid looks straight down for Shondex. Notice that gate crash there will allow, of course, Penny to take his pick and fall back. But this is something Ambrosia made great use of on their defense side. Finally, the boogeyman, the attack side op, has been silenced. Satellite is forced to go now just with the hero rifle this round.
Portal
There's a very
closed.
cheeky little attack side sonic sensor here in A main. I don't know if it's ever going to see any action, but if it does, you know that Glyph will be there to capitalize, I'm sure.
My camera is destroyed.
1-3-1 right now for Ambrosia, getting some control of mid. Drone spots 3 from Stellar. We'll send out the recon in addition to that drone getting a couple pings. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Ambrosia have a couple options, but they're going to work back towards A, where Glyph has just been passively maintaining control of main. Gonna have to deal with this off for Penny. Flashed off temporarily.
Still 20 seconds left in the round. Eventually, you're going to have to contact here into tree. Penny seems to know it. Yeah, a lot of action there, but Penny's able to take the shot. The important one, at least. Set up inside Hell. He's on the swing, and he's looking good doing it. Akrian was, I mean, it's the sisterhood of the Traveling Vandal here. That hero rifle for Ambrosia gets no purchase. Penny exits around with 4 kills. And again, keeps YFP's head above water.
I am going to go ahead and say that Penny did not kill Shondex on purpose when he was on Catwalk and the Yori was jumping across. I would love to potentially, hopefully we got that on the replay because that was a little ridiculous looking. But what we're going to see in this next round will probably also be equally, if not more ridiculously looking, as Satellite has the judge with the dimensional drift. So you know what time it is, Mitch. It is time to run around, throw a flash, pop out of that, try and shoot someone close and teleport away. The classic. The vintage play.
Shades of 2024 Roxy on Sunset. All right, here we go. Jet looking to back away here. Side of the cage thrown midway through on that B side here, and here's Satellite emerging. Nobody there in CT to look at, so he'll go hunting instead. Tucked close to market. Potentially powerful spot, and yep, gets his value off the judge. He got 2. That's not right. Still, the players in the back B side have to be dealt with, and Jake's anchoring like an absolute pro right now. Yes, he was. I suppose that makes sense. That's 3 for him on the round. Awkward angle for Satellite. He's brought down. YFP will not give up. And now Ambrosia are truly out of cash.
Jake had some phenomenal anchoring there, but great supportive utility as well. B-Dog connecting with that paranoia to just ensure that Akrian had no hopes of finding that trade and finding a timing window to actually get the spike down. YFP had fully rotated over to that B site, and Ambrosia still committed fully to the game plan. Even though that dimensional drift spotted the multiple rotating players through market, they still went for it. It was a dangerous call and ends up with them losing the round, going back onto an eco.
Gotta say, Jake's had a phenomenal second half. Only found 4 kills in the first, and then aces immediately in this pistol. Good recovery from him there on the site. Really hard to deal with. Ambrosia felt like they were out of gas by the time they got to the B side itself. Big mid presence. Ambrosia have to know this, but nowhere to shut the door. So they're going to have to deal with this push out from market either way. Have to know about logs here, surely. Oh, that's not good. Jake out of nowhere, and then on the move. What? I don't know if he intended to shoot at Satellite, or maybe he got jump scared and shot anyway, was rewarded for it. 3 kills for Jake. Shondex here, realizing that very quickly this round has devolved into utter chaos. It'll be pointless for him to commit any further.
He's either feeling it or his little brother was on his PC for the first half. It's one or the other, man.
He's trying to crank 90s here on Ascent.
Correct. I mean, he's at the top of the board now. What the hell, man? He was like 4-9 or something? Yep. Yeah. That's crazy.
In the last 12 rounds, he's been able to find 17
This
kills.
was sick. What? It looks like he didn't even shoot. Where did the bullets come from? He snapped away before even clicking.
He had a muscle spasm while he was turning to look over towards B main. Damn.
Looks like maybe he wants to go for the instant Viper's pit. Yeah, he does. or, you know, allow Penny to take the first shot and then send it out.
What?
Huh? Okay, Shondex down to 48. This is YFP on the cusp of tying this game up after Ambrosia completely took over this half.
And YFP are playing as if this is a 12-0, not a 12-11. Extreme shoulder peek, not punch for it. Barrier mesh set up. I guess I'll at least keep YFP interested in this part of the map for now. Penny is out of gate crashes though, so for all intents and purposes, he's committed here. Which does mean that Ambrosia's set up top mid to catch a rotate is fair, but Thief sniffs this out already. They kind of intentionally give up mid for just such an occasion. And in comes Penny.
Suddenly teleporting into the spawn. Oh my god, Penny in danger. Actually has to use the dimensional drift just to stay alive, and is now going to additionally get some information from it by running down mid. 35 seconds on the clock. Duel with B-Dog over in main. This could really determine how this round plays out as Ambrosia want to split into A.
Oh, great flash into the game here for Satellite. It hangs in the balance. 4 versus 4. B-Dog earlier on was lit in wine. Now he's going to push up and take the fight. He's punished for it. Well, he's able to find a headshot. It's just Stella sat here on the side. Hunter's Fury comes out and Stella is cut down. Neural Theft. Everything coming up at the right time here for Ambrosia. But Thief could be an issue. He's lit. Jake explodes there through tree. Acreon gets a plant and then is decapitated. It's up to Welly at 13 health. No util. He'll have a recon bolt up. That's all he's going to have to lean on. That and a sliver of health to try and close the game out and avoid overtime. Just how good are you, Ellie? Half defused, and there's Jake. What? A half from Jake, dude. Absolutely disgusting. We're headed to extra innings, folks. YFP staying alive here in playoffs.
Mental from him. He has dragged YFP into overtime and given them a chance to win this map, to get to split and try and win this series, stay alive. If not for him, this game would have been over many rounds ago. This push through door, having to break it, and then max confidence just swings in, finds the first kill while his teammate comes through heaven, snap onto Acreon as well. 20 kills in the second half for Jake. 20.
In fairness, you know, a quarter of those occurred in the first round of the half.
All right,
so,
but it sounds cooler when you say 20 kills in the half.
Or the second round.
Rather
yes,
than, you know, he got an ace with a Bulldog, all body shots against classics. Like we don't have to talk about that part. Just leave it at the cool headline.
Never let the truth
Don't
get
read the article.
Story.
Yeah, just read the headline. Don't delve into the details. 20 kills in the second half, Mitch.
Definitely don't mention it's, you know, 1 kill per round over the course of the game. That really makes it seem much less remarkable than it is. And this double controller setup here, very seldom seen. And Jake is having a great time with it. The gate crash is set up here. Satellite, of course, glass cannon op on this defense side. Feels like it's pretty much a must-have here. And YFP do that little slow attack side default. You see him do this a lot on Haven as well, especially if they were thinking of... Is that a sausage? It's a low poly sausage, though.
That's pretty hard to tell.
That's a real Rivington moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, poly. Yeah, that really was a Rivington moment.
Just distracted by something on the screen. Let's get back to the game. Glyph TP's out of wine, knows that the pressure is coming his way. And look how quickly YFP is trying to follow up on this. They manually clear wine. Penny gets in there. And then he's able to
30 seconds
gate crash elsewhere because the action's really headed over towards B. Now, there is Cypher util set up here. Welly would like to go to work, but he's uncomfortable. One way going to be played off of, though, by Shondex. Willie gives enough ground here to be able to cover across. Shondex will be under pressure, but Satellite is here as well. Ambrosia have all the pieces they need. Cobbled something together. Thief somehow not hit at all, but we're running out of time. Scant seconds left in the round. The spike is on Speedway. Thief has to face the firing squad. And Stella is too late to have an impact.
No, just not enough time. Round 1 by Ambrosia. It's that setup that was netting them countless round wins back in that first half. Welly playing from spawn, spamming with the Odin. And then you have Shondex, who has just been a superb anchor, playing on the site with all of those kill trips, one-way cages over main. So even though YFP have that Viper's wall to get into the site off of, you're still having to run through the cage, making all that sound very frustrating to deal with. Opportunity for Ambrosia to close it out.
When there was more time, YFP were correctly using their cyber cage to just counter that out, right? When they had a slow push towards B. But when they're all running there with like only a few seconds left in the round, they're going to get absolutely cooked by that one way. So maybe just give themselves a little bit more time. But that's on YFP. They played it so slow, waiting for a push out from Ambrosia that never came.
Penny has not opted to go for the glass cannon. Just sticking with the rifle, even though when he picked up the op, that's when YFP, you know, that was at least a part of why YFP were making that comeback happen, forced to teleport away after breaking a clone. A minute left, and Ambrosia have some fair control towards Cat.
Toxins going up.
Already glacial progress from Ambrosia here as well. Jeez, they don't want to deal with that at all. Snakebite came down, forced them all away from that position. Now back to mid. What are they trying to tease out of YFP here? Okay, there's B-Dog down. That's on the A side. How does Acreon find that? He got into tree and there was no one watching it. Might be time to explode. Satellite can catch the rotate here, but Stellar is waiting for it. The spray down there that favors the Yoru. There's Thief, stepped up, sat down. Satellite far too good right now. And there's Jake from Hell. Has to drag him down there with him. But it might be a day later. Penny short here for YFP, Wyatt. Their last gasp. All rests on the duelist.
And he has to deal with all of that deadlock utility, trying to come back in as well. It's been a great run for YFP in this lower bracket, but surely it ends here. Ambrosia looking so good today. What an impressive squad. You know, just put together with a lot of roster changes before stage 2. They look electric.
There is so much to enjoy about this team. There's already a sound sensor, of course, there to catch Penny. Away he goes. Acreon waits for him, and it's a shot in the back that sends YFP to the Shadow Realm. Ambrosia will advance in this lower bracket of Challenger Stage 2 playoffs. What a team these guys have shown themselves to be. I've got whiplash from seeing these guys in promotion relegation to here now fighting for a lower final. Mind